continue week 22 of the USL League One season here in Toronto, Ontario. The Greenville Triumph heading north to battle with TFC2 in this Friday matinee. I'm Chris McCovic bringing you the action here from BMO Training Ground, and it is simple for the Triumph in front of them. 3 points today. They have sole possession of third place, and of course that means a playoff spot along with it. Not so simple for TFC2. You think home field advantage would mean something to them, but the last 3 matches at home, they have lost all 3, including the one against the Triumph 2 weeks ago. And maybe the key here today is Jordan Peruzza. All eyes on the striker here today at the top of the formation. And it was the same way against the Richmond Kickers last week, where he came up huge to start a comeback against Richmond at City Stadium. And maybe that's the momentum TFC2 needs to break their recent stride. They're winless in their last 5 and now return home with a breath of fresh air, with the striker at the top still hot, tied for second in the Golden Boot race, of course, with Jake Keegan of the Greenville Triumph. Both strikers chasing Ronaldo Demos at the top still. The last meeting, Peruzza not able to find the back of the net. Jake Keegan did, though, along with 2 other Triumph players in the first 35 minutes. From there, it was all Triumph defense, locking things down the rest of the match and able to shut down the TFC2 offense that we know so well here at BMO Training Ground. And for the Triumph, it's part of this recent stretch where they are 3-0-1 in their last 4 road matches. So strong away from Legacy Early College, and of course they'll look to keep it running today, which would propel them into the playoff spot at 3rd ahead of Tormenta and the Chattanooga Red Wolves. Right behind them though, Toronto at 3 points today, and they themselves would jump FC Tucson, maybe get a bit more into that playoff discussion. So much in front of us today as we continue week 22 in USL League One. Greenville and Toronto FC2 going at it here in Toronto, Ontario, coming up next right here on ESPN+. Welcome back here into Toronto, Ontario. TFC2 and Greenville getting set to do battle for the second time in the last 3 weeks here as we continue week 22 of the USL League One season. With that, let's check out our home side today, the starting 11 for TFC2, trying to break through this recent stride of 5 games winless. Here, Michael Rabasca rolling out his starting 11. 4 changes from that matchup against the Triumph just 2 weeks ago. Of course, Griffin Dorsey is back for this one, suspended for the last match against the Triumph at that right back spot. The goal scorer off the bench against the Triumph, Akinola, coming in now up with Peruzza in this 4-4-2 formation that Michael Rabasca rolls out. John Harkes on the other side, simply put, a consistent 11 so far for the Triumph recently. Kevin Paulitz is back out there, though, as one of the center backs along with Evan Lee, as we do see the same faces in front of him, as it has been a great stretch for the Triumph now. In their last 8 matches, 5-1-2, 17 points, something that has vaulted them back into the playoff discussion. And of course, with a win today, they will make it above that playoff line due to the draw between Tormenta and Chattanooga Wednesday night. They'll be at 33 points with a win, but of course, Toronto trying to make the pack a bit tighter and also put their own name in the playoff discussion with a win today that would vault them into 7th place overall, just above FC Tucson, as Tucson will play OCB coming up tomorrow night here on ESPN+. For TFC2, their offense has been so strong this season, led by Jordan Peruzza. He, of course, will need to be hot today stemming from the result at City Stadium in Richmond, Virginia. A 2-goal comeback, but they did give up 2 goals in the first half, and that's been their issue the last 2 matches. 5 first-half goals allowed by TFC2 in the last 2 matches, and certainly they'll be looking to short things up as they return home here today. The last home stretch for TFC2, not spectacular, not able to get a win in those matches, but of course, back here, Akinola up top, getting some time with Perusa. And that's one thing we haven't gotten to see too much of this season, both on the field at the same time. It's usually one or the other in the second stretch of this season. As we get set for the opening whistle, our head referee is Ben Hoskins. As we begin this Friday matinee battle, Greenville and Toronto going at it here in a jam-packed Week 22 here in USL League One. Already the 3rd match of the week, and one of these teams looking to really get deeper into that playoff discussion after Lansing taking down North Texas yesterday, getting back to the top of the table. Again, I'm Chris McCovic bringing the action here from BMO Training Ground. 2 weeks ago, Greenville got the win, the first meeting between these two sides, 3-1. Of course, they'll meet again in a few weeks in the upstate of South Carolina. 3 matches in a 7-week period between these two teams. Certainly familiar with each other as they headed up the sideline. Somehow that stayed in play on the far side, and Greenville moving it back the other way. Greenville in their last 4 road matches, 3-0-1 as I mentioned, and they have to be feeling good here as they take another long trip up the East Coast. Lee back there at center back along with Paul Litz. We haven't seen that duo in quite a few matches. It's been Cole Seiler at the center back position with Paul Litz out with a brief knock. He has been coming off the bench. Evan Lee actually was subbed out early in the match against Madison last Saturday due to some cramping issues, but back out there in the starting 11. Stolen back now by Waja, and TFC2 back the other way. Tackled down by Paulitz, looking fresh out there as he'll send it down the far flank. Here's Cole Seiler back at the right back spot, and with Paulitz back in the lineup, odd man out is Dominic Boland, who's been actually playing right wing for Greenville in the formation. Hemmings now taking that spot, as we'll see if the Triumph can have the same momentum out there without Dom Boland at that right wing spot. Dallas J sending this down the field as Greenville getting the early possession going in this match. Tariq Muhammad takes the ball in. He had the 2nd goal against the Richmond Kickers last Saturday, equalizing late on in that 2-goal comeback. A comeback that Rabaska, the head coach of TFC2, said that really at halftime you could feel the energy, the desire to perform well in that second half, and they came out firing. And he said all he asked of was one change really tactically, and all the rest was just the momentum the players created on the field in that second 45. Foul called, and it's going to be a free kick on the far side. And back through. Klenofsky in this starting 11 for the 3rd time this season for TFC2. Last time here at home, he played in the Richmond Kickers battle. 2-1 loss for TFC2. Petrasso cutting inside, gives it off. Shot coming, Nelson pretty clearly blocked at the top of the box, and it's going to be a handball going the other way. We'll take another look at the first real opportunity for Kevin Paulitz to show himself here, and what a stop it was with the left leg coming forward and just around the TFC2 player. Seiler stuck in a sticky situation as Jay has to play this down the field. And it was actually the Greenville press that was so successful against TFC2 in the last matchup, and so far, Toronto taking it to Greenville in the back and forcing some mistakes early on. Here's Perusa, he goes down, Lee takes the ball back over, and he'll clear it down the field. Here's Jake Keegan, at 9 goals this season along with Perusa. Keegan down the right flank. Ball whipped in, deflected up by Bunk Anderson and out of play. An early corner kick for the away side after Toronto really putting Greenville deep in their own area. Gomez will take this corner kick, And Demos, Perusa, and Keegan at the top of the Golden Boot battle. And the funny thing about Perusa and Keegan is that in those 9 goals, all coming from the run of play, they haven't scored from the PK spot, either of them. Keegan actually missed his only one against Christian Herrera in OCB this season at Legacy Early College. As we do have some contact in the box. Gomez standing over the ball. He had 2 assists in the last matchup with TFC2 for Greenville. Got Player of the Week honors for it. Gomez lining into this one. Muhammad, top of the box, tried the volley. It falls to Keegan. Awkward touch from Muhammad, who was wide open. I don't think he realizes how much space he really had, as he has it back now on the left wing, working against Griffin Dorsey. Now Tyler Pollock will wrap it around, and Greenville will reset from the top, at least try to, as that pressure from Toronto continues to come up the field. As we've been talking about, TFC2, not a great stretch recently at home, and you can see how strong they were. They were one of those couple of squads here in League One that entered that 2-week section of the schedule that were undefeated at home, but went down just like that. Went down to Richmond, actually, a few weeks ago. Ball ahead. Akinola towards the end line, puts it over, but Jay grabs onto it, and he'll send it down the field. And you just saw as well for the Triumph, they are 3-3-3 on the road, but the better half of that record coming in the second half of this season. 3-0-1 in their last 4 road matches, with wins over OCB, North Texas, and this TFC2 side. Jay getting his first real danger of this match, as it is possession to the Triumph. Seiler, a quick throw in. Bunk Anderson heads it on. Akinola here towards the end line. He's very quick down the wing. Watch him there on those runs off Perusa. That should be a good combo, a fun one to watch here today at the top of this formation. And he actually scored his goal from a left wing spot, running around Max Hemmings, who was playing right back that day in the second half. Muhammad had the ball, loses it. Bit of miscommunication here for TFC2, as Greenville trying to keep the attack going, and a good run by Seiler. Great hustle from the right back, but Bunk Anderson using that to his advantage and forcing the deflection out of play. TFC2 missing a few key players today for the second straight match. Ovalle not out there in the starting 11 for TFC2, as well as Serbal missing time today, not in the 18, and he's one of the probably more underrated names of this TFC2 squad. He has 4 goals, 5 assists this season, and certainly will be missed today in the central midfield. Klaus knocks it on. And a foul is won by TFC2. A couple Clemson players out there today, one on each side in Bunk Anderson and also Paul Klaus. Wide open on the left side is Nelson. Through traffic there. Good back heel, but enough of a deflection there on the poke by Lee. And that ruined the give and go there for TFC2. Akinola down the right side off of Pollock, and you could see Jay a bit worried there as it ricocheted into the box, but Lee clears it. Now Muhammad battling with Dorsey. Out of play, shouts for handball, as you can hear from the sidelines. It looks like it will indeed be a free kick for TFC2 on a handball. TFC2, 4-3-3 at home this season, averaging 1.7 goals per game on offense. Problem for them has been the defensive area of the game, giving up 1.75 goals per game this season. Muhammad down the far flank, out of play off of Seiler. It's a throw-in for TFC2. Michael Rabaska telling us this week that he thought that his team had the better attacking threats overall in the match against Greenville. But of course, the Greenville block in the second half, they're unable to get by that. And he really thinks it's been TFC2 as their own worst enemy, giving up mistakes, and that's the cause of this recent skid in the schedule. As we have our first offsides call of the match going against TFC2. Evan Lee will take it. You can see the first half tallies for these two sides, and TFC2 certainly more of a second half team. 12 goals in the final 15 minutes of matches, 17 in the final 30. But of course, they would love to get off on the right foot in their second match against the Triumph this season. As Walker knocks this on, Hemmings now, through ball down the right flank. Keegan is there. Hemmings, here's Paul Klaus. Seiler whips it into the box. Headed away by Bunk Anderson. Waja knocking it on, and Muhammad drilling it down the left flank, and then I'll move centrally back to Dallas J. Lee up and out of play, and you're sitting at home watching this match, listening to the wind a bit here up in Toronto, Ontario, or just over 10 miles an hour. John Harks, that's something he actually pointed out to us in our conversation this week. The windy conditions and the field environment here acting a bit more as a home field advantage for TFC2, and that's something Michael Rabaska acknowledges as well. But you put into the equation also the travel going north of the border and through customs for many of these squads. It's a long journey, and something TFC2 was able to really take advantage of in the first half of the season. Not so lately, as we've talked about, as Klinovsky will send this down the field. Paulitz again getting a stop, giving it off to Walker, over to Lee, former Richmond kicker. Back over to Jay, and he'll drill this up into the wind, and hanging a bit there because of it. Stepping up, good move by Waja, cutting it over. Peruza's there, service out to Nelson. Left wing, here's Nelson still on the ball, looking for help. Chips it in there, Peruza's there, lets it settle, the strike, but offsides, the flag goes up inside the box as Greenville again handling the situation. But danger there as Peruza, you could see with his hold-up ability, nearly bringing that ball down for a sharp strike right at Dallas J. We'll get another look here as Jaden Nelson found some room, flicked it through the double team, and Polak went for the header there, but just didn't get it as Peruza read the ball really well, but was a step off in the situation. Jay drilling this downfield, and something that has to help Peruza out there is his size on the field at 6 foot. Battling for balls in the air, and he can definitely get up there. You saw that there battling with Tyler Polak. Foul is called on Muhammad. As Hemmings is down, away from the ball. We'll have to see what happened here, as he's all of a sudden now holding his left ankle. He's a player who's gone through a few injuries this season. Went down in a head collision against North Texas in the 4-0 win for Greenville a few weeks ago. It led to the red card on Edwin Cirillo of North Texas. Gomez breaking free. Bunk Anderson back, looking for help. Cuts it back, shot coming. Keegan just wide. skating on by that left post. Muhammad was there, but the shot nearly going in as Jake Keegan looks for number 10 on the season. Another look here, and Klinowski has to have a sigh of relief after that one. A sharp swing of the ball by Keegan, but it ends in a goal kick for TFC2. Prior to the Madison match last week, Keegan had 4 goals in 3 matches. He's been hot of late. Past the header, here is Petrasso over Akinola. Muhammad goes down. You can see he thought about going down, but after he felt the tug a bit, deciding to take the foul. As Greenville gets us going again. It was TFC2 most of the possession in the first 10 minutes. Now Greenville finding their touches up the field. Gomez up towards the back line, sends it out wide. Hemmings has to track back, but this will let Greenville get some numbers forward. Hemmings to Klaus. Falls through to Muhammad. Pollock there on the run. Service in, low one. Falls through for Gomez. Back heel. Muhammad's there. Flicked on by Waja. And Walker tracking back. Akinola, though, winning the ball. Here comes TFC2. Enough numbers back, though, for the Triumph to slow down Perusa. Petrasso stepping up. He thought about a strike. Through ball down the left side. Here's Muhammad. Flicks it in there. Headed on by Pollock. Hemmings dealing with Muhammad for now as it's back to Nelson. Up ahead is Suse. At the near post, an easy grab there for Dallas J. But there's that counterattack for TFC2. We didn't see too much of it in the first half against Greenville in the last match between these two, but right there is exactly the buildup they need. Greenville, their defense tops now in League 1, 0.7 GAA, and 10 clean sheets overall. Foul called on TFC2. It's a free kick for Greenville, and a talking to from Ben Hoskins as Bunk Anderson drilled that ball away down the field after the whistle. Bunk Anderson himself, the center back, can be considered really an offensive player. 5 goals this season for him. But right here, the chance belongs to the Triumph here in the 18th. It's Gomez once again over this set piece. We'll see what Greenville has up their sleeve. Ball whipped in very low there and knocked away easily. Walker, a few goals to his name recently, up to 2 now on the season. Muhammad, defended by Dorsey. Waja corralled there by Hemmings, and Muhammad an easy interception on the end of that pass. Back heel by Hemmings. Here's Muhammad stepping up the field. Ball up ahead. Keegan will find this. Muhammad looking for the service. Can't get the right angle against Dorsey. He'll move it on back to Klaus. Now Walker. Seiler. Down the flank to Hemmings. Hemmings looking up. Can't find Seiler as Muhammad intercepts the pass. A blown opportunity there for the Triumph as TFC2 tries to take it the other way. Knotted on by Lee. White kits swarming the area, and an easy foul call there for Ben Hoskins as Petrasso is called for it, and it's back to the Triumph. Hemmings out wide. Here's Seiler. Very versatile player this season for the Triumph. Fisted away by Klenofsky off his line, settled by Walker, but the foul is called on Walker, and it will be a free kick back to TFC2. Give them some breathing room here as Greenville has controlled possession the last few minutes. Select is the official ball supplier of USL League One and many of the finest leagues in the world. Since 1947, Select has been the leader in soccer ball quality and innovation. For latest Select products and special offers, please visit SelectSportAmerica.com. Shot coming, and the face deflection from the top of the box. And play us the pause as Romeo taking one there. As Muhammad into this one. What a strike it was, a powerful one. And right off the left cheek of Romeo. He's down. You hate to see this string of potential head injuries here in League One. It was just last week that Lucas Coutinho went down for Tormenta against FC Tucson, but something that definitely brought the entire soccer community together across the USL. The league flying in his parents to visit him in his recovery, and probably the best moment, the assembly line with their tifo last night and their victory over North Texas, supporting Coutinho. And hopefully Romeo is okay after this one. The center back out there with Bunk Anderson on the back line, now making his 7th start of the season. 19 years old, out of Toronto. And it has to be one worry for the Triumph facing Toronto this season. The height of those center backs. Bunk Anderson, 6'2", Romeo at 6'2" as well. Greenville not a team that's been fantastic on the set pieces this season. They have found one or two to tie or get ahead for 3 points this season on corner kicks. Cole Seiler comes to mind. Along with Kevin Paulitz back all the way in early April. As Romeo will walk off the field under his own power. We'll see how Ben Hoskins handles possession after this. Klenofsky standing next to Ben Hoskins. And you probably noticed this, but one of the taller keepers here in League One at 6'6". Now some argument clearly over who should have possession following that stoppage in play. And this continues as we restart here from Toronto, Ontario. Klenofsky recently spending time in the Israeli 2nd Division, making 16 appearances. Former DC United draft pick in 2017. As the Greenville player is down, and just like that, another injury stoppage. That's Tyler Pollock. Not a player you want to see limping if you are a Triumph fan. I think Tyler Pollock even saying right there, why did we stop? I'm fine. Whistle is blown here in the 24th, getting set to get back underway. 0-0 between Greenville and Toronto here as we continue in week 22 of USL League One. 3rd match this week already. Last night, up Lansing, it was 4-1, propelling them back on top of the table. A team that does have 3 or 4 matches more played than the others in League One, but after that one, claiming their stake at the top as Tormenta and Chattanooga. That's the result that really pleased both these teams in front of us here, as it kept both of those tied for 3rd at the moment, and Greenville, with that result, able, they win today, to get up to 3rd place. Madison looking to do the same and get towards playoff position with a win against Richmond, but they went down last time the two teams faced as Seiler heads that out of play. And of course, Tucson and OCB, the late night matchup coming up tomorrow, as it's the first match in quite a while at home for FC Tucson after their field was worked on a bit with some construction, and they finished 7 of their final 8 matches at home. A team that would love to get some momentum going at home in the match tomorrow night that they can bring forward in the rest of their home matches. Their only road match actually against this Greenville side the rest of the way. That coming up, of course, in September. Nelson knocking this in. Jay falling backwards. He'll grab this. Akinola there at the back post as well. But Jay taking it in, and he'll survey the field here in the 25th. Fans, follow the Greenville Triumph, TFC2, and the rest of USL League One all season long on ESPN+. Home to the USL, MLS, UFC, US Open Cup, and more. Join the over 2 million sports fans who have already discovered ESPN Plus and watch League One live every week. Sign up today at ESPNplus.com. Romeo back out there and clearing the ball out for a corner kick. A miss hit there, as it's an opportunity for Carlos Gomez and Greenville to strike early on. As we mentioned before, both matchups tomorrow at different times as well. If you want to watch all the USL League One coverage this week, both of those on ESPN Plus in Madison and also in Tucson. Gomez lining this one in. Dangerous one, flicking on and through. And a foul is called away from the ball. No, in fact, at that near post by Ben Hoskins. Not a dangerous one trickling through that near post. And it looked like Gomez was just trying to find the right deflection there. Another look. And Ben Hoskins, it seems like, saying that Evan Lee pushed Akinola into his keeper, Klenofsky. And you could see a little bit of contact there. As Petrasso bringing down Klaus. And Pollock will get a quick restart. Here's Muhammad. Through ball, arcing up there over to Klenofsky. And Muhammad was pretty quiet for the full 90 against Madison. He had that early chance in the match, but put it just over the crossbar. But he was guarded very well by Carter Manley, and so far so good today for Griffin Dorsey. Klaus back to Lee. Pressure from Perusa. Here comes Nelson as well. Numbers really moving forward for TFC2. A chance maybe for the Triumph to pounce. Through ball by Buck Anderson is there. And he keeps it away from Jake Keegan. Off of Seiler, still in play. Muhammad's just trapped in the corner. He back-heeled it, trying to find the deflection. Hemmings off towards Muhammad, falls free. Walker there now, takes the shot, and just trickling wide again of that left post for the Greenville Triumph. Walker and Muhammad making something out of nothing there, as Keegan and Gomez were trapped in that right corner. Off balance here, and you could tell that by the end of this shot, just trickling wide. Klenofsky not needing to worry about that one really at all. TFC2 coming in 8th on the table, 24 points. They're up in playoff position for a majority of this season, but the recent skid allowing them to fall back as some of these very experienced squads, Lansing, Chattanooga, Greenville, and Madison moving up. Player down for Greenville, meanwhile, on that contact. And it is Kevin Paulitz, who just returned from that ankle injury. Former New York Red Bull player. As he's up back on his feet, holding his right side there as Greenville players having a word with our head official. Another look here, see if we can catch this contact. And falling off balance there, Akinola all over the Greenville center back as the two players went for that 50-50 ball. But we're back underway now as was a foul called, and Jay will have this free kick. So far, 3 shots for Greenville, none on target, none as on target as well for TFC2. They've put Jay in some dangerous situations, but he's dealt with them so far, along with his back line. As Muhammad skies this down the flank, up and out of play. TFC2 does have a few players in this match in terms of yellow card accumulation suspension, if they do see one today. Griffin Dorsey and also Tariq Muhammad. As Greenville wanted the foul, here is Muhammad stepping up. Knocked back the other way. Muhammad, a very talented left back here in League One, just has had some trouble with the fouls and the cards this season. Petrasso stepping up, knocks it over. Akinola at the end line, met by Polak. And the Greenville left back forces them to reset things through Dorsey. Petrasso. He'll get right back on it. There's Muhammad. Stepping up centrally through traffic. Great run there by Tariq Muhammad, and coming out is Jay. He picks up the ball as Muhammad goes flying over him. Here in the 31st minute. And the goalkeeper of Danville, California, taking a moment to collect himself as that unintended spin move by Muhammad nearly breaking through to a shot on goal. And a talking to here from Ben Hoskins with Tariq Muhammad. And as I just mentioned, he's on thin ice here. A yellow card, and he has a suspension. And that's not for his first of the season. That will be his second yellow card accumulation suspension here of 2019, as he would hit 8 yellow cards overall. Impact player from the back, 2 goals, 2 assists for Muhammad this season, and 2-time Team of the Week player here in League One. Knocked on, but right back the other way. Here is Nelson down the left flank. Nelson and Faria, those 2 players that Rabaska has looked to replace Jacob Schaffelberg when he's not with TFC2. As that ball goes skying out, a wishful shot at that by Nelson. As Jay will knock this deep down the field here in the 33rd. You can see how many red jerseys are up the field. Really, this press coming in full force for TFC2. But Michael Rabaska saying this week in our conversation that really wasn't looking to change their style or anything that they did. He just wanted to see less mistakes, really the best way to put it overall. As Wyja moves this on back to Bunk Anderson. Paulitz pokes it on through. Muhammad over to Nelson. Nelson sends this towards the other flank, but heading it on is Polak right back to Jay. And still no shots on target for either side in this match. Last time these 2 teams played, they combined for well over 20 shots and over 10 shots on target. You can see the Triumph used to these tight matches, low scoring, but TFC2 not so much, as Greenville leads the league in 0-0 results. Both a good thing and a bad thing, of course. And has led to 10 clean sheets this season for the Triumph, as a foul is called on the Triumph, and it's a free kick here for TFC2 in a dangerous situation as Nelson and Petrasso stand over the ball. Looks like a one-man wall of Gomez for Greenville. Nelson taps it to Petrasso. He'll take it himself. chips it in there, headed on by Buck Anderson, but just up and over the crossbar. We talked about his potential on the offensive end. He has 5 goals this season, and that's where they love to use him on those set pieces. And it seemed as though Petrasso wanted to give this right back to Nelson, but Nelson covered well immediately as Greenville was all over that opportunity. And then Jay not needing to worry about that shot as it was clearly up and over the crossbar. 35th minute, still 0-0 between Greenville and Toronto FC2. Back the other way, and this just held up in the wind. You can see the way the ball was curling there. Wind knocking it down as Klinowski starts from the back. Almost stolen by Hemmings. Muhammad stepping up. Great run on the missed tackle. Another one as he goes down via Seiler. And a yellow card shown to Cole Seiler. Muhammad going down on his run the other way. He dodged 2 Greenville tacklers and then ran into Cole Seiler, who received the yellow card there. His 2nd of the season. Another look here. Here comes the tackle from Seiler, and it looks like he swung to hit the ball but completely missed. An unfortunate situation. Seiler immediately raising his hand saying, "My bad." He tried to drive full force into that ball to kick it the other way. And you can understand the pleading from TFC2 there on the follow-through, but nothing malicious, it looks like, from Cole Seiler. And Seiler heading over, check on Muhammad, and talk with Ben Hoskins. Muhammad back on his feet after seeing the trainer out of play. Free kick for TFC2 on the opposite flank. Greenville going at it for these final 9 minutes. Again, a missed tackle, going full force into that slide. Romeo looking down the field. He's going to try the near flank, up over the top. Headed on by Polak. Here's Klaus. Knocks it on. Gomez settles it. Staying away from Romeo. Up ahead to Muhammad. Muhammad cutting back. There's Gomez alongside him. Through ball. Keegan's there. Strikes it, but deflected away by Buck Anderson. Gomez near side. He'll send it centrally. Paul Klaus. Out the other way to Seiler, trying to stretch this TFC2 defense, but right out there came Muhammad. Near flank now. Muhammad, top of the box. Cutting in. Puts it in. Knocked on by Waja, nearly into the path of Gomez. Over to Klinowski, who just has to heave this into the air. One hop, and Klaus will let this go out of play. And John Harkes applauding the pressure there from Greenville. Knocked on, Muhammad, open lane. Scoops it in, headed on and out. The Ohio native back on the ball. And gives it off to Polak. Klaus giving it right back to TFC2. No, now Greenville with it. And Muhammad on the near side. And this will be coming back on the offsides flag, first of the match for Greenville. Free kick to come for TFC2. Looking for the latest USL League One news and content? Follow at USL League One on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram for exclusive access and updates. Of course, you can always vote for your favorite goal of the week or save of the week as well. 2 nominations at the Madison-Greenville match. Still can't believe that Brian Silvestre made that save on Aaron Walker. Headed out of play by Romeo, right next to John Harkes. head coach of the Greenville Triumph. Former FC Cincinnati coach, where he brought many of his players from. Ball scooped in there, no one on the run, and Klenofsky will come out and take it in. Up and out of play, and it's going to be back to Greenville. Clowes knocking it on, and again, back with the Triumph. So last weekend, we hit 100 games here in our inaugural campaign of USL League One. And this battle turning out to be a great one in front of us and maybe in store for a fantastic finish, and that's exactly what we'll look at coming up at halftime. The best finishes to matches here so far this season. And I have to say, we will see these two squads a few times. So stay tuned for that as Clowes runs into this one. Line this up, got the deflection, a corner kick coming for the Triumph, and that will be their third so far in this match. Both teams trying to finish off this half with some momentum. We know how strong TFC2 is in the second half. Greenville as well this season, scoring 13 of the goals in the second half. Ball whipped in there. Hemmings, free header, but right to Klenofsky. If he puts that ball anywhere else on that shot, it's probably in. But the keeper takes it. Not a huge amount of power on that shot as Gomez whipped it in on the corner kick. And Max Hemmings trying to finish it off. Keegan there for the rebound. But TFC2 keeping their clean sheet through 41 minutes. First 35 minutes, Greenville was up 3-0 in the match 2 weeks ago. The same addition between the two squads. Dorsey cutting through Gomez. He'll move it left side. Nelson there, but so is Cole Seiler flicking it on. Hemmings, Seiler down the right flank, but well outside the reach of Jake Keegan as Muhammad tracks all the way back to retrieve it. Klenofsky, pressure off of Keegan. Gomez, top of the box, flicks it on. Walker up to Hemmings, stopped in the box by Muhammad. Now Walker trying to settle. Klaus, the shot trickles on off the deflection, but diving to his right is Klenofsky. And we talked about this. Head coach Michael Rabaska just looking to shore up the mistakes, but there is another as Klenofsky tries to put the ball by Keegan, but it goes off his shoulder and into the path of Gomez. Another look here as Greenville tried to recollect things as TFC2 dropped back. Klaus got off a shot, but not nearly as well as Greenville would have liked. On the first save there by Klenofsky here today. It happens here in the 43rd. Polak over the ball. They'll drive this. Muhammad off the header, trying to keep it in play, but it's right back to Dorsey. Here's Lee. Lee settling it, driving it up the near flank, and now recollected at the back. They'll reset. It's Greenville on the ball. Hemmings, met by Isusi. Lee. Up ahead, Muhammad. Polak overlapping run. Muhammad goes down. Akinola called for the foul. And a set piece maybe to end the half here for the Triumph. You can call that probably a professional foul for Akinola. The 19-year-old out of Detroit, Michigan. Polak in there. Two-man wall for TFC2. Petrasso and Akinola in there. Polak sends it in there, back post. Headed on by Seiler, but right to Wyja. He'll move us downfield, but Aaron Walker all over it. And right by Jaden Nelson. Here's Seiler. Deflected. Muhammad trying to get there, up and out of play. It's a throw-in for TFC2. Wasted opportunity there for the Triumph. You can see it was a bit of a set play there towards the back. Tried to be salvaged by Seiler, but his header falling right to Wyja inside the box. Lee. Walker. Muhammad. Muhammad near side. Here's Polak. Klaus chips it over the top. Muhammad's there. So is Romeo. And he makes sure of this one all the way down the field. Perusa there. So is Jay. And he gets there just in time, volleying it up the field. We're hearing from the sideline, 3 minutes of stoppage time. Indeed, it is officially, as the ball is given back to the Triumph on that foul by Jaden Nelson. Back and forth, first 45 in front of us. As it seems as though the Triumph have seen more and more possession as this match has gone on. Muhammad letting this go up and out of play. It's a throw-in for him as Asusi comes up to help. Bunk Anderson. Kept up by Seiler. Muhammad. Polak all the way up the field. Deflected off of Akinola. It's a throw-in here for the Greenville left back. Flicked on. Keegan knocks it down. Falls in the box, but cleared by Asusi. All the way back to Dallas J. About just over 90 seconds here remaining for Greenville. Maybe get another tack going here on the road. Haven't lost in the last 4 road matches. As Seiler steps up off of Muhammad, out of play, and a throw-in for the former Sacramento man. Into the box. Hemmings knocks it on. Keegan can't get the shot off. Wyja again. The ball gets to him inside the box. And Muhammad down the far flank. And he'll fall to Klaus for a throw-in. John Hark's pretty pleased with the Madison result, but overall he did say wasn't pleased with the decision making and the action, of course, in the final third. And so far that's been the problem for Greenville here today. As Gomez up ahead, Hemming to the box, he goes down, and play continues. Klinowski picks up the ball, and he'll sling it out wide. And TFC2, that's been a problem for them this season. The fouls, the cards, but also the penalty kicks. They've given up 5 of them. They've stopped 2, but nonetheless allowing teams to get to the spot. That time, no call. As the defense stood tall for TFC2. And they'll move it around the back as we take off the final few seconds of this first half. Much different look for both sides compared to the matchup 2 weeks ago. And Toronto has to be feeling good here at home as they head into the second half. A half of football that they have looked fantastic in so far this season. And that's exactly where things will stand as we started 0-0 TFC2 and Greenville. Chances for both sides. They've combined for 10 shots, a majority for Greenville. Greenville the only 2 shots on target to this point, as we see some green colors in the stands here at BMO Training Ground. It's 0-0 TFC2 and Greenville at the half here in Toronto, Ontario. We'll see which team can break through as we head into the halftime here on ESPN+. Welcome back here into Toronto, Ontario, here at halftime between Toronto FC2 and the Greenville Triumph. Last week we celebrated our 100th match here in the USL League One season, and today we celebrate that with our fantastic finishes so far here in the inaugural campaign of USL League One.
Pitch, ball sent towards the 18, punched out, goal is open. McGrew is down, another player is down.
Vignal serving it up, the chance, stopped in the end, second go at it, trickles in for Dennis. Have a brace, sir. He puts the home side up 3-2. A great save by Silva. Alphas go home with something to celebrate. Seguro in there, headed on and away, still in there. Zayed in! He gets it! And Zayed off the batting course of the season. It's 1-0 Red Wolves at home.
Scoring first, Demis on a hat trick, and he finishes it. A 27-minute hat trick for Ronaldo Demis. Alive in the box, and it finds the corner! The slow roller!
Here comes an opportunity for Lansing. Minsigan still with it. Finds Bruce. Bruce back to Minsigan, the shot! And a goal for Lansing Ignite FC. Moving in Jersey. Trade that though. There's a cross. Cleveland's loose! And just like that, forward Madison levels at 2. J.C. Banks with a stunner. Up in the middle though, here's Minsigan. Minsigan hesitates, shoots, Bruce the shot, he finds the back of the net. Unbelievable! Here in Cooley Law School Stadium, Alex Bruce.
Here at the bottom of Richmond, weak goals all over the place.
Walker, the strike trickles in there. It's a goal out of nowhere. The players expecting that foul to be called, but instead the dribbler gets past Herrera. 1-0 to the Triumph. Back here, stopped by Hurst. Through the traffic, knocks it on. Soto there, back, the shot, and in! Josue Soto off the bench and putting Chattanooga up 2-1 here in Statesboro.
It'll be Jordan Perusa striking it and burying it. What a goal from Perusa. His 9th of the season. TFC2 has life. 2-1 in the 53rd minute. Serving it in, headed and in. Flag is down. TFC2 has their equalizer in the 87th minute.
plenty to learn from these fantastic finishes as well, especially for Toronto FC2. As you can see, largest deficit overcome. 3 goals for Toronto, if you remember back a few months against North Texas, a 3-3 result here at BMO Training Ground. And also 12 goals in the final 15 minutes this season for Toronto. Something certainly to keep an eye on here as we continue our match today and into the rest of the League One season. Coming up next week, USL Championship Soccer returning to ESPN3. It's Wednesday Night Soccer a week from today on Friday night. And we'll take a look at that right here.
Obi charging on, curling across, that's outside for Hartman. Quickly to Watson. Watson gonna take a shot! Oh my! That is sensational for the Irishman! Plays it across, and finds the one hit.
Welcome into episode 13 of Steal Some Time. We are going to start over in the East and chat a little bit about North Carolina hosting the Pittsburgh Riverhounds this week. And I think that we can easily say that nobody saw a 5-0 outcome, at least in North Carolina's favor, coming out of week 24. But let me tell you, North Carolina stuck it to the Riverhounds, shut down that unbeaten streak that they had going. And really, I mean, they dominated play, outshot Pittsburgh 13-5, 8 shots on target as well, which is fantastic. Pittsburgh, on the other hand, didn't have a single shot on target, and I think that's obviously a major difference maker. North Carolina looked good, Scott.
Yeah, I mean, the same week Austin Deleuze announces his retirement, he then goes and dedicates a 5-0 win over Pittsburgh to the Oak City supporters.
So cool.
Definitely didn't play out how I thought it would.
Right.
And I think that I speak for the vast majority of fans around the championship who just kind of looked at that and said, what the heck's going on with Pittsburgh?
Elsewhere ahead in week 25, I don't know how much longer we can talk about Phoenix, but they're giving us no other choice. They're back for another dollar beer night, and this time they're hosting Sacramento. And yeah, I'm going to go on a limb here. I'm going to say that this story's different. As good as Phoenix's backline has been, I think this is the biggest chance all season that Phoenix is going to have a run for their money on dollar beer night, going for 15 straight wins.
Are you calling I won't make you go out.
No, I'll call that. Yeah, I think this is it.
They're gonna lose
I
or
do.
draw?
I think.
I was just gonna let you say that the win streak is snapped.
I think the win streak
She's
is
visually
snapped.
hedging right now.
Yeah, I see the bullets, the little beads of sweat just starting to she can feel the heat here. She feels the pressure. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm gonna call it. I think the L comes.
News and notes from around USL League One. Lansing vaulting to the top of the league last night with their 4-1 victory over North Texas SC, snapping that 10-game winless streak for the home sides here in League One. The assembly line at the match unveiling a tifo in support of Lucas Coutinho. Everyone signing that one, going to send it down to the Tormenta midfielder as he still recovers from that head injury. Keegan and Perusa in front of us today, trying to put more pressure on Ronaldo Demos, who came back from his injury and scored nearly immediately against Chattanooga last week. Stephen Beatty, of course, still in the discussion as well. Dallas Shea at the top of the Golden Glove battle right now for the Greenville Triumph. Aviles giving up 4 tallies last night, still in the discussion, but right now Fitzgerald and Cleveland getting their names back in the top 5 for the GAA battle. The scoreboard, starting with the most recent to last Saturday. Lansing, of course, back on top of the league, and Tormenta and Chattanooga, tough battle, 1-1 in Statesboro on Wednesday night. Looking at the table, we mentioned this before, Greenville a chance to jump up themselves to the 3rd spot with a win here today. Toronto still trying to get back in the discussion, really, and close that gap a bit with Madison and the Triumph as we move through the rest of our League One weekend. You see 2 matchups coming up on Saturday, Madison and Tucson, a chance maybe at home to claim their stake to the playoff battle, but also a jam-packed Week 23 in USL League One, starting on Tuesday with North Texas and Tormenta. After this, we'll be back, of course, with second half kick, along with our first half highlights here from Toronto, Ontario. Welcome back here into Toronto, Ontario. 0-0 at the break between the home side and the Greenville Triumph as we take a look at our first half highlights here from BMO Training Ground. And both teams getting off to a fast start. It was TFC2 that really got out on the right foot against Greenville. They had a slow start against the Triumph last time these two teams played, but the press at the top able to force some possession, get them some chances, some confidence early on. Petrasso leading Akinola the other way towards the end line, testing Jay early on. But that's the problem, is that many of the chances for TFC2 have ended like that. Crosses in that Jay comes out and pounces on. He hasn't really been tested in terms of shots on target at this point in the match. Greenville, of course, getting their own opportunities going the other way on the counterattack like they did against TFC2 last time around 2 weeks ago. Keegan, his best chance so far, that one just slinging on by the far post. You can see it again trickle on through as Klinowski, really a sigh of relief there as the ball skidded just wide. Great run here by Muhammad as he tumbled over Jay in the end of this challenge as he went straight through the Triumph defense, but unable to get the chance in the end as a physical battle continued. Both teams combining for 19 fouls conceded in the first 45 minutes. Couple corner kicks and set pieces for Greenville early on. Best chance for Max Hemmings was a header, but of course just grabbed in the air there by Klinowski. And if Hemmings put that anywhere else, probably would have been in the back of the net as he was wide open inside the box. There are your stats so far. TFC2, a good amount of possession in this match, but just 3 shots to show for it. Greenville, they got those 2 shots on target towards the end of the first half, trying to bring some momentum into the second 45 here from Toronto, Ontario. Greenville, as we mentioned, 4 matches unbeaten in terms of road contests, 3-0-1 in that stretch, trying to find their 4th straight road win here today in front of us. TFC2, though, just trying to break this recent slide. 5 matches winless as Peters, we see, comes on to the pitch for Romeo, who went down injured in the first half, but coming off early here in the second half as Peters comes on in his wake. The Trinidad and Tobago 25-year-old, making 3 appearances with TFC2 back in 2017. Didn't play last season due to an injury. Ben Hoskins again, our head official, and we're back underway. Second 45 here from Toronto, Ontario, as we continue week 22 here in USL League One. I'm Chris Makoviak, bringing you the action here from north of the border. TFC2 hosting here and trying to break their recent skid at home. They've lost their last 3 home matches. Look good so far, and we'll see if they can bounce back like they did in the second half against Richmond just a week ago. Jay takes it in as we get things rolling. Toronto and Greenville battling again, their second meeting in the last 3 weeks. They'll meet a third and final time coming up on September 20th at Legacy Early College. Muhammad the other way, cross in there. Keegan heads it on and just wide of that near post. Klinowski dived, but did not have to make the touch. Muhammad and Keegan combining again on that left flank. We've seen them do that before this season, of course, as Pollock went down, advantage played, and Muhammad got this one by Dorsey. A little bit of a side header, I guess you could call it, for Jake Keegan, trying to find number 10 on the season. Klinowski back the other way, again making his 3rd start of the season. For Peters, who just came in as the substitute, the header there by him, making his 3rd appearance overall. It adds some height out there as well to the center back pairing at 6'4". Flicked on through, Gomez after it around Muhammad. Muhammad keeping it in play for Gomez, who wins it back. Now Seiler, Klaus, met by TFC2's defense. No call there as the handball appeals came. Ball through, Lee tracking back, offsides. The flag is up though on Akinola. And that now for TFC2 the 3rd time in this match, the flag has gone up. Another look at this potential handball. We'll see if it indeed was one. Pretty clearly there was a handball on Asusi, but because of the angle. Ben Hoskins not seeing it. Greenville back in possession nonetheless as Seiler sending a through ball down the right flank. Hemmings is there, met by Muhammad. Cuts back, looking up, sends the ball in, and flicked on a back heel. It was a good idea, it seemed like, at the time, but it falls right to Griffin Dorsey. Now Perusa trying to get a touch. He can't. Ball flicked ahead. And Perusa is a player that has been quiet since the early going of this match. He had some great hold-up play, leading the counterattack, but since then, not seen too much. You can see how strong these two teams have been in the second half this season offensively. Keep in mind, Greenville only has 20 goals this season. 13, a high amount here in the second half. Muhammad, met by Dorsey, cutting over, chance coming, flies it forward, but just wide of that far post. As still Klinowski peppered with chances, but again going wide. Another look here, this is what Muhammad likes to do. Cut back over and sends the shot on that angle, but just high and wide. Omar Muhammad creating opportunities, 1 goal, 2 assists this season in his now 18 appearances. Seiler the knockdown over towards Hemmings. Peters taking it in, pressure from Gomez. And he'll just sling this out of play, nowhere to go for the center back. And it's going to be a throw-in for Cole Seiler on the near flank. Wind continues to howl here from BMO Training Ground. At about 11 miles per hour in the first half. Right next to the airport, so a long, flat area here for the wind to howl in Toronto. Politz, Seiler, thought about giving it to Hemmings. Instead, he'll keep it. Flicked on and away by Waja. Akinola, met by Polak. He goes down, and a foul is won by the Greenville left back. Just 1 yellow card in that first half going to Greenville's Cole Seiler. His follow-through contacting the left back for TFC2, Tariq Muhammad. Back with TFC2 as Petrasso takes it in. As they'll start from the back. In these last 5 matches for TFC2, 2 draws, 3 losses. Of course, just 2 points from that. But here's the positive stat, really. They have 8 goals scored over that stretch. But at the same time, they've given up 14 goals allowed. And with that number, no clean sheets as well in the last 5. As this ball is stolen back by TFC2. Their last win coming on July 12th. 3-0 on this field against Tormenta. Walker over the top. Met by Bunk Anderson. Waja. Muhammad near side. Nelson. Hemmings. The steal. But one back by Asusi. Over to Perusa, stopped by Lee. Here comes Perusa, strikes it up and out of play. And a goal kick is won by Dallas J. And a good job there avoiding the ball as Perusa went in for the challenge but could not get around the Triumph keeper's body. Another look here as Hemmings and Walker just stared at each other, not sure who was going to get the ball. Perusa, a veteran move with a flick around Lee and knocking it up and out of play. Jay, Hemmings, Seiler. Keegan goes down looking for a call, nothing doing as Peters wins the ball back. And TFC2 starting from the back once again. Fans of USL unveiled its elite youth platform, USL Academy. This allows clubs at all levels across the USL to develop its local youth and compete at the highest level across the United States, including the USL Academy Cup. For more information, visit uslsoccer.com/academy. Back the other way, here comes TFC2, stolen by Paulitz in the end and ricocheted away. Akinola to Petrasso as TFC2 sets up shop inside the final third of Greenville. Akinola sends it through. Nelson heads it on, but that a bit of spin on it, putting it wide of the left post and well off target in the end. But a great leaping effort coming from Nelson. Just at 16 years old, has 1 assist this season and is now 7 appearances, 5 starts. Up and out of play, disappointing kick downfield for Dallas J here in the 54th minute. Toronto FC2 coming in now, as we mentioned, at 24 points. A win today, a positive result, would move them ahead of FC Tucson. But more importantly, up to 27 points. As Greenville, put it in perspective, currently at 30, so that would put TFC 2 3 points out of the discussion for a playoff spot. And you have to expect the Flock and Forward Madison, if they're tuning in today, hoping for a draw between these two or maybe a Toronto victory. As if Greenville unable to win today, then that would leave the opportunity wide open for Madison to join Tormenta and Chattanooga at 32 points in a potential playoff spot. Greenville and Madison, of course, will meet up coming on Wednesday at Breese Stevens Field, their second matchup at Breese Stevens Field this season, and luckily no snow this time, you have to hope. Cole Seiler with the throw-in on the near side. Madison themselves, they'll host Richmond once again, second time in 3 weeks for them, coming up tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern time. As Richmond looks to continue their recent run, they were unable to get the full 3 points at City Stadium, but again, a positive result, adding to their unbeaten run. And last time they faced Madison, it was a 1-0 win for Richmond on the road. Madison unable to get it done at Breese Stevens Field. Gomez, top of the box, sizing up Peters. Seiler back at the top, slung by Walker. He likes to shoot from the top of the box, but that one going wide. Both his goals have come from there this season. And we talked about this, Madison hosting Richmond, but looking for a different result this time, as Richmond's new formation of a back five has really proved to be a good choice by Coach Bulow. After the switch, they've looked really good out there, trying to get another road result against Madison. FC Tucson's really a team to keep an eye on, though. If they're able to get a really positive showing against OCB tomorrow night, sky's the limit for that side if they get some consistency going, as they'll be at home, including tomorrow, 7 times through the rest of the season. Something I'm sure all these other teams in League One would hope they would have. As Klinowski will take the goal kick, and Greenville will see FC Tucson 2 more times this year, 1 time in Tucson, 1 time in Greenville. And the location not mattering too much there, as the Triumph went down to FC Tucson 3-1. An incredible showing that won Devin Jamga Player of the Week honors. Foul is called, and we'll head back to TFC2, and Ben Hoskins saying, hey guys, you got to come back a bit. As Nelson slings us back into TFC2 territory. But right now, after last night's result, everyone looking up at Lansing Ignite. Now at the top of the table with 39 points, 38 is North Texas SC, who were just unable to get things going against Lansing. There's a 2-2 result between those two at Cooley Law School Stadium earlier this season. And then North Texas getting the win in the other fixture in Frisco. Lansing maybe putting the rest of League One on notice. But there is some room to catch up to the Ignite. And Greenville trying to complete some of that here today. But now TFC2 trying to spoil the party with a corner kick as Petrasso will have it on the far side. Pollock made the play to knock it out. We've had some midfield battle here in the second half, both teams sizing each other up. And now maybe a chance to be broken through for TFC2 in the 59th. Ball sent in, headed up by Peters. Still alive, but Politz volleys it away just in time for this Triumph defense. Wijah trying to keep the attack going. Here's Muhammad against Hemmings. Wijah back all the way to his keeper, Klenowski. And they'll reset from the back. Jay leaped up in the middle of that pack. As Pollock goes down, Akinola called for the foul on the late contact. And we will see a yellow card for Ayo Akinola. And that, his first of the season. As Tyler Pollock, we saw him go down in the first half, down again. Another look here on the contact. As Pollock, it looked like was waiting for the offsides flag, but because Akinola did not go after that ball, I guess the flag never went up. But instead, ball still won by Pollock and Greenville. It'll be a free kick from nearly the same spot. Lee will take it. Evan Lee making now his 20th start of the season. Native of Toledo, Ohio. Tyler Pollock on the sideline receiving treatment now. Native of Lincoln, Nebraska. Player of the week for the league back in week 18. We're hearing TFC2 getting set to make their second substitution of the match. Already they brought in Peters for Romeo. You're just joining us. There's a few injuries now piling up here at BMO Training Ground. As down for TFC2 is Jelani Peters, who I just mentioned came on to start the second half. If he has to leave, that's really a wasted sub for TFC2 that you hate to see as a head coach. After bringing someone on going down like that. An unfortunate situation for TFC2, excuse me. And now that is the sub indeed for TFC2. As we're hearing Noble Akello coming on for Peters. So we'll have to see how this changes things up for TFC2. As Akello is typically a holding midfielder out there. But Peters has to come off now after coming on for 15 or 16 minutes. Okello, of course, has the size to play center back, but more of a player up the field this season. And especially with Serbal not with the squad today, along with Ovalle, someone they probably could use in that midfield. We'll see how this changes things up for TFC2 as Lee now stands over the free kick. He'll send this down the field. Knocked on by Okello in his first touch. Wijah comes in. And he'll knock it on. So two subs used just like that for TFC2. Still none used for Greenville as we're in the 63rd. Flicked on through. Pressure from Muhammad. Leaves a gap for Nelson the run. Cuts in top of the box. Looks for the strike through the legs of Politz. Quick spin, and he gets back on his feet. Moving the ball out of the area. Seiler. Across the field. Here is Hemmings. And over to Pollock, who's back on after going down injured a few moments ago. Muhammad stepping up around Seiler. Perusa bodying through traffic. Top, sent over and just outside the reach of Jay. Luckily for the Greenville keeper, it's outside the post as well. A great strike coming from Petrasso as all the eyes were focused on Perusa, and nearly he found an assist here over to Petrasso, who was looking for goal number 3 on the season. Hemmings stepping up. Here's Lee as Greenville just trying to get some consistency going on the passing. Ball's through. Muhammad on the run. Bunk Anderson there. Knocks it on back to Klinowski, who skies this one. Headed on by Politz. And a free kick is awarded to Greenville. This will give them a good stoppage here to reset, as Politz sent that up the field on the header. And Politz will step up and take this. The Wake Forest grad, 2017 ACC Defensive Player of the Year. Flicked into the box. Gomez rises there but couldn't get to that as it harmlessly trickles out of play for Klinowski. Hemmings now working a bit on the left flank, switching with Muhammad, and that's something we've seen John Harkes like to do this season when it was that stint of the schedule, Bermudez and Muhammad starting on the wings. He would switch them time and time again just to try and throw off the fullbacks out there that they were facing. We'll see if Muhammad's effective on this near side, as he was battling with Griffin Dorsey out there in the first half. Now Max Hemmings doing so, as that ball goes out of play for Hemmings for a throw-in. Pollock through traffic, flicks it ahead, but Okello gets the stop. Petrasso with some space to roam as Klaus steps back, waiting for Pollock to recover. Asusi losing it. Hit his back heel, it looked like, as Walker takes it in over to Hemmings. Minute 66, still 0-0 between TFC2 and the Greenville Triumph. Third matchup this week in USL League One. Only one today as Muhammad cuts inside. Top of the box, trying to curl it, but instead Muhammad gets enough of a touch there to halt the run. Klaus strikes it, but off of Waja, and it's back to midfield. Pollock the other way. Hemmings, room for service, but closed down quickly by Dorsey. Pollock, Klaus. Pass cut off by Nelson. Here's Gomez. Cutting back over. Okello trying to get things started the other way. TFC2 some possession now, as Waja moves it over to Petrasso. We mentioned this before. We're not at the 75th minute, but 12 goals in the final 15 minutes for TFC2. They lead League One in that category. Asusi. Muhammad. Ball sent in. Pollock unable to get a touch to it. Nelson now sizing up the shot. Driving end line though. He falls, trickles through, and Jay gets his right hand to it and brings it in. So again, TFC2 unable to penetrate the box. As Nelson thought about it, but met by Polak. That went off Lee as well, it looked like, and into the arms of Jay. TFC2 at 6 shots. The Triumph at 10 with 2 on target. None on target for the home side so far. Walker. Up and out, throw in for the Triumph. As Klaus takes it in. Klaus all the way back to Jay. They can't find any room to move up the field. As both defenses halting each other so far in this match. Hemmings down the left flank. He'll cut around and over to Klaus. Now Walker. Lee takes it in, looking downfield, will chip it left side. There's Polak, who lets it go out of play, and a frustrating bit of possession there for Greenville, unable to do much with the ball. Dorsey on the far side, he'll take the throw in here in the 70th. Fans follow the Greenville Triumph, TFC2, and the rest of USL League One all season long on ESPN+. Home to the USL, MLS, UFC, US Open Cup, and more. Join the over 2 million sports fans who have already discovered ESPN Plus and watch League One live every week. Sign up today at ESPNplus.com. 2 more League One matches coming your way on ESPN Plus. Tomorrow, again, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, it's Madison hosting Richmond, and then FC Tucson hosting Orlando City B, coming up at 10:30 Eastern Time. Dorsey settling it, trying to at least. Hemmings trying to win it back. Scoop back into play. And it stays alive. Okello. If you're just joining us, 2 subs used by TFC2, but they still have only 10 starters out there as Peters came in at halftime, but had to go off due to injury 16 minutes into his stint. And Okello came on to play center back. Muhammad chips it in, but no one there on the run for Greenville. It's a goal kick, now for Klinowski. And both teams just cannot find their chances. It's a stalemate at its best here in the 71st, something Greenville's used to this season, entering today over 1,200 minutes they've encountered when tied with their opponent. That leads the league. Not too surprising with their low-scoring matches early on this season and 10 clean sheets to their name, looking for 11 today. TFC2 looking for number 6 overall. Muhammad. Waja. Asusi. Foul called, headed the other way as Dorsey goes down. And a free kick for TFC2. And a quick restart. Tomorrow's Madison-Richmond game. May get to see the new addition for Richmond, Riley Kraft, who spent time in 2017 with Orlando City B. Hasn't seen too much time on the pitch since then, but is eligible for the 18 according to the kickers. And could be a good late season addition. Muhammad giving it off. And of course, League One late night in the desert, Tucson and OCB. And we know how hot some teams in Arizona have been towards the second half of the season in Phoenix Rising. And we'll see if FC Tucson can capitalize on that. As Orlando City B, that is actually the longest journey OCB has to make all season. It's their second trip over to Tucson. Waja. Out wide, here's Dorsey stepping up here in the 73rd. Cutting around Polak. Sends it over, deflected away. And Polak up limping yet again. Shot coming as Susi. But well, up and over the crossbar. But coming away from that, Polak was limping again. He's been dealing with something there bugging him throughout the match. As that went straight off the head, it looks like, of Walker. Still no substitutions by John Harkes, letting things ride for now on the road as Klaus shoves this upfield. And right back to TFC2. Waja cutting it back. Peruza's there in the box, but too heavy of a touch. And Lee trying to clear it. Off of Nelson, out of play. And a throw-in coming. But at this point, Greenville may be looking to change something up in their attacking line. And Mundo Robinson has been an option of late for John Harkes. This pace. Has a goal this season, winning a PK and converting it against North Texas a few weeks ago. Cleared back the other way and will be scooped up by Dallas J. Jay starting all matches this season. Up the field and out of play. As Klinowski will get things going again with Okello at the back. Nobo Okello coming on, filling that center back role well so far, the 19-year-old. 1 assist in 22 appearances last year and making appearance number 15 today. Asusi just starting to get his account going with TFC2, making his 3rd appearance today. 2nd start. Akinola down the left side, trying to get by Seiler, knocked off the ball by Seiler, and it's out for a goal kick. Akinola kicks that ball away. It's been a fun battle. The Toronto forward and the Greenville right back here today. Seiler also dealing with Tariq Muhammad coming up the left wing. Jay slides this over to Lee. Back underway here in minute 76. Here from BMO Training Ground. Still 0-0. Greenville and TFC2. Greenville, the only 2 shots on target this match. Teams have combined for 19 so far. The accuracy just hasn't been there, and most of these shots coming from the outside. Greenville has had an edge in possession. Here's Polak. Ball is won by Waja. Down the field and right back to Dallas J. And frustrations continue for both these sides deep into the second half. We've seen at least 2 goals in both the other matches so far this week in League One. Week 22 we're at as Keegan skies this one out of play. Offsides, the flag is up. Second time today for the Triumph. The Triumph, 2 more away matches coming their way again. Wednesday against Forward Madison and 8 p.m. Eastern time start. And then another visit with the Richmond Kickers, a team they haven't seen since really the beginning of the season. 7 p.m. from City Stadium on the East Coast on September 7th. 3 more home matches left on the schedule for the Triumph before they finish the season against their rivals, South Georgia Tormenta FC. The way the table is looking like it is, could end up being a battle for a playoff spot in the end. Paulitz, the header up. Asusi, met by Paulitz. Going down is Walker, and possession back to Greenville. TFC 2, looking at their schedule ahead. Back and forth between home and away, trying to find that consistency overall on the board. That's been the problem so far. They had that recent long homestand, but were unable to make the most of it. And a foul is called, and a free kick won by Greenville. Next match for TFC 2 will be North Texas SC, and those matches have been fun so far this season between the two squads. The 7 p.m. Eastern Time start from Frisco, Texas, coming up on a Sunday night on the 1st, Labor Day weekend. 2 more matchups this weekend in League One. You can catch those on ESPN Plus, 8 p.m. and 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Gomez lofts the ball in, as Seiler goes for the header, but not much there, as goes well out of play here in the 80th. And both these teams struggling for chances now, and both looking pretty content out there with the way the match is, 0-0. Who's up, who's down, where does your club sit? Find out every Monday in the official USL League One Power Rankings, only on USLLeague1.com. And you have to expect Power Rankings come Monday, we'll have Lansing at the top after that really strong victory against North Texas SC last night, as Hemmings has called offsides there, and ball will be brought back for TFC 2. Greenville has seen the top spot in those power rankings, along with Madison in recent times, as it's been more of a shuffle, as Tormenta and North Texas have hit a bit of a lull here in the season. Battling for the ball is Nelson. Waja, as Asusi helps up. Ball is stopped, and this will go back to TFC 2 as we're hearing multiple substitutions on the sideline. Faria will come on to bolster this TFC 2 attack. On for Nelson, and Dominic Bolin coming in for Omar Muhammad. And Bolin has started the last few matches at that right wing spot, and we'll see him come on now, looking to help out the Greenville attack. So both teams down, but showing they're not out on the offensive end. Faria coming on for his 13th appearance, and Don Bolin, a goal and an assist so far this season. His goal actually came 2 weeks ago on this very field. Okello moves it back to Klinowski as we continue here in the 82nd. Bunk Anderson back to Klinowski. Keegan with the pressure up top. Knocked on. Waja on the run. Up to Dorsey. Battling with Hemmings. Brought down from behind, and a pretty clear foul as Hemmings tugged down the Toronto right back from behind, and a yellow card on the edge of the box. Giving away a key opportunity here for TFC 2. as Max Hemmings into the book for the 3rd time this season. Another look here. You can pretty clearly see him wrap his arms around Dorsey and bring him down just before entering the box. And we'll see what TFC2 has up their sleeve on this one, as Faria and Perusa stand over the ball. No, excuse me, Petrasso over there. Jumbled mess inside the box, over the top, and Jay was in trouble there, but luckily for him, it's coming back for Greenville. 84th minute. And it was a foul called against TFC2 at that near post, as Greenville quickly the other way, trying to move the ball quickly, but there is Klenofsky to hold on to it here in the 84th. TFC2 done with their subs here today. They've used all 3. Greenville still just 1 used, 2 left, of course. Muhammad. Asusi. Through here, Petrasso. Politz comes in and makes a big stop for Greenville. Here's Muhammad. Petrasso still down after that challenge from the Greenville center back. And he has a heavy limp as well. Ball whipped in there, stopped by Jay Perusa. A great run towards the back post, but the ball sealed up quickly. Over to Politz. Polak trying to find some room. Good give and go, and he's breaking free a bit. Through ball, but right to Akello, who works it on back to Klenofsky, who will bat this down the field. And over to Klaus. Minute 86. As Greenville will try the right flank now. Seiler. Boland. Ball worked in there, flicked on. Gomez, awkward angle, puts a shot up, saved by Klenofsky. Shoved away at the near post. And now a corner kick here for the Triumph. It's their 4th of the match. Another look here. Awkward angle as the ball fell through to Gomez, but got enough on it to force the save from Klenofsky at the near post. And now maybe we'll have to make another on this set piece. Gomez back there for Greenville. Ball whipped in, headed on and away out of the box. Back to Gomez where we started. Ball sent in, headed on and just over the crossbar. Cole Seiler again on another set piece, nearly finding the game-winning tally. Another look here. Gomez headed up and away as the player is down. And Max Hemmings back up and ready to go after the brief moment. 87th minute, time running out for either squad. Out to Boland, coming in on that right wing spot, met by Muhammad. Boland whips it in there, but right to Klenofsky at the near post. Here comes TFC2. TFC2 trying the far flank now. Akinola. And the ball rolls free and out for a Greenville goal kick. Next substitution now for Greenville, their second overall. It will be Chris Bermudez, we're hearing, coming on. Adding some creative ability out there to stretch the field. Hemmings will be coming off after briefly going down. Chris Bermudez comes on, sporting his 2 assists and 14 appearances this season. Native of Union City, New Jersey, at 20 years old. Trying to make his name known here in the final few minutes. He'll be on the left wing, Boland on the right as the 2 substitutions for Greenville. Knocked up by Boland. And TFC2 trying to clear. We're in the crunch time of the match, and that's where TFC2 has been so strong this season. Again, leading League One with 12 goals in the final 15 minutes. Greenville just 4 in that span. Of course, they had a deadlocked match against OCB at home. That long rain delay that we saw as part of our fantastic finishes at halftime. And then Aaron Walker, he shot from outside the box, giving Greenville the 1-0 lead, and that was enough to get the 3 points that evening. Bermudez falls off the ball, won by Akinola, and down the right flank, Petrasso with it. Petrasso looking for some help here in the 90th. Muhammad down the flank. Seiler whiffs a bit on that one, as Clouds will have to clean it up here for Greenville. Back over to Muhammad. These teams have combined for 22 shots, but the Triumph with the only shots on target with just 3 to their name. Clouds scoops it down the field. 3 minutes of stoppage time we're hearing from the sideline. Mirror image of our first half. Wyja. Dorsey met by Bermudez. Scooped in there, headed away by Paulitz, brought down by Akinola, strikes it, a dribbler, open, free opportunity, and offsides this coming back. The 4th offsides flag on TFC2, maybe the most painful, as Asusi puts it in, but that's coming back. It stays 0-0 here in the 91st. Knocked on through. This will stay outside the box, though, as Gomez trying to get the block. Faria brings it down, stolen by Seiler. Now Greenville caught up the field. Can TFC2 pounce? Peruza stopped by Lee. The center back stepping up the field. Drives it forward down the right flank. 2 Greenville players there. And here comes Gomez. Looking for the cross. He'll send it along the end line. In there. Headed on by Bermudez, but just over the crossbar. What an opportunity by the sub on. Final sub for Greenville. And it will be Jake Keegan coming out for Cameron Saul. One final chance maybe in these final 90 seconds for the Triumph here on the road. We'll take another look at this TFC2 attempt. That was a goal, but was offsides. Paulitz the header back, and Akinola, a good, dangerous ball in. And they said Asusi was offsides. Back the other way. Here comes Bermudez. Flicks it in there and just wide. Now, Bermudez has been such an impact after coming on just minutes ago. As again, they almost catch Klinowski out a little there. Another look. Bermudez flicks it in there. And Boland and Gomez were there as well. Falls to Walker, met by Perusa. Here's Faria. Driven the other way. Akinola will save it. Final few seconds here from Toronto. Perusa runs onto it. Tackle down from behind. Paulitz takes it over as Walker wins the ball back for the Triumph. Seconds dwindling. Saul holding the ball up against Buck Anderson. Maybe one final push from Greenville. No, that is all here from Toronto. It ends the way we started, 0-0 between Toronto and Greenville in their second matchup this season. Bout here from Ontario, punch for punch between the two sides, and the defenses stand true. 11th clean sheet of the season for the Triumph and number 6 overall for TFC2. As we end things here, 0-0 in the third match of League One this week. TFC2 and Greenville even on the board at the end of the day. Coming up next, of course, we'll tie a bow on things with full match highlights and stats here from Toronto. Welcome back here into Toronto. 0-0 between Greenville and TFC2. But Greenville, again, the defense standing tall. Clean sheet number 11 as they continue to lead in the defensive categories here in League One. As now we move into our full match highlights here from BMO Training Ground. And it was an even battle, to say the least, from the get-go. Both teams combining for 24 shots, but just 3 on target. There's a physical one in the midfield. And right back and forth. Chances from the wings. Both teams really open things up out wide, but just not able to punch through inside the box. Jake Keegan, maybe his best chance of the day, just going wide there. And it was a few ones that just skimmed the outside post for Greenville that maybe gave Klinowski a brief heart attack there, but did not go in. As Muhammad also serving one up for Keegan, but the side header going pretty well wide of that near post. TFC2 getting things going as well with some steals from the back. Their pressure solid against Greenville here today. Perusa after this one, but Jay forcing the ball wide on the shot. Perusa overall a pretty quiet day for him as the center backs of Greenville shut him down, as he and Keegan both stay at 9 goals in the Golden Boot race. Perusa again here, trying to get around Lee. He served it up pretty well for Petrasso, but put it wide there on the roller, and Jay not touching that one, so it went out for a Greenville possession. But Petrasso, that one served on a platter, unable to convert. Gomez, and Boland, and Muhammad able to get some good crosses in there for their side, as Gomez putting this shot in and forcing the save out of Klinowski. He got caught up a bit here looking for an earlier spin, but instead had to work to find that right angle. And that one went out of play. And both these teams, as you saw there, pretty even on the scoreboard at the end of the day. 25 shots, 3 on target, only by Greenville. A frustrating day for both sides, but especially for TFC2, as still they're unable to find one in the win column this late in the season and go now 6 games winless now on their schedule. Greenville, though, a good result on the road with the point. Now they're unbeaten in their last 5 road matches, and as we look at the table, if we thought there was going to be some room wiggled through for the Triumph, think different. They're at 31 points now, still in 5th, and still behind Tormenta and Chattanooga. Of course, coming tomorrow, Madison, a chance to leap up now above Greenville with the draw today, as they'll face Richmond, and they would be, with a win tomorrow, tied with Tormenta and Chattanooga. FC Tucson as well, looking to get back in the playoff discussion with a good showing against OCB. And great matchups coming in Week 23 as well. Nearly over with this weekend. We're 3 matches into the League One Week 22, and we have 2 more coming for you tomorrow on ESPN+. A thank you to our entire crew. I'm Chris Makoviak. It ends 0-0, Toronto and Greenville here from Toronto, Ontario. Again, tune in for FC Tucson, OCB, Madison, Richmond coming up tomorrow right here on ESPN+. We'll see you next time here from Toronto.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League League One cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League League One.